locations. In the Bar Elementary School, I was seated about 80 feet from the two tabulator machines and the ballot drop box, and I had to ask the poll inspector, who was at the opposite end of the gymnasium, and I only saw her maybe twice during the time I was there, from 5:30 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if I wanted to walk around, and I had to be accompanied by a poll worker to observe anything anywhere in the poll location. It appeared to me that almost every ballot, from what I was able to see, that was processed through the tabulator computer resulted in a green light switch being activated, and either the poll worker or the voter had to depress that green light switch for their ballot to process through the tabulator. Okay, so I also was on October 16th, I was also an observer week after the early voting had started, and I asked to observe the ballot opening. I was asked to observe at this facility. Includes observers were told how the ballot receiving process was, the methods used to support the supporting of the various types of ballots, how the various types of ballots were opened and distributed to processors, what the processors did with the various types of ballots, and the security of knowing that. While I was an observer there at the facility, where the ballots were received, validated, processed, in the large room that was there that I was seated in, I was about 25 feet away from the closest table where there was supposed to be a Republican and a Democrat sitting at the table, but who knew? I mean, nobody knew who was actually at the table because you couldn't see any credentials for anybody there. The room was large enough to hold 110 ballot processors, and the closest one that I was near was 25 feet away, so I wasn't able to really see much of anything. I was not allowed to talk to or ask any questions of anyone other than the assistant director of the facility, which I saw maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the entire day that I was there, from 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. There was a young Asian in the facility talking with the assistant manager at the same time that I was out in the corridor, that I briefly met and asked him what his role was, and he replied that he was a computer programmer at the facility. Well, I didn't think much about it until afterwards, when I heard the news and I heard about the allegations that China was heavily involved with the ballot tabulating company and the software. I started to think about, gee, that's really unusual that we had an Asian gentleman that was there that was in the programming process. So I just thought it was kind of unusual, and I mentioned it in my affidavit that I had put in. Okay, finally, following the election, I was asked to come to the Arizona GOP office in order to be able to investigate some of the complaints that were coming in from voters. And I spoke with around 35 Republican voters that complained about